We all have heard about credit and the impact it can have on our financial life, but is it really necessary? In today's video, we're discussing everything credit and credit score and whether you even need them. Hi, I'm Shama from Happy Living Now, where we share everything money, lifestyle, and living a happy and rich life. So as stated in the intro of this video, in today's video, we're taking a look at credit and credit score and whether you even need them. Now, I'm pretty sure lots of you are well aware of lots of financial experts and gurus who can vouch one way or the other for whether or not you should have credit. There are tons of them that say you should, it's good to have, and there are others who completely are against it. And honestly, I will say that the scale when it comes to whether or not you should have credit is well balanced as to the opposite, the varying opinions on whether or not you should have it. Well-known financial expert or guru Dave Ramsey has to say this about a credit score, and I paraphrase, that a credit score is really just a number that tells someone that you're good at borrowing money and paying it back. So with that said, do you really need credit? It depends. Before we can get into the nitty-gritty of credit and credit score, let's talk about what credit actually is. Credit can be defined as borrowing something of value from a third party to be paid back at a future date with interest. So it's pretty much you're borrowing something of value, like a loan, from someone to whom it has to be paid back, and then over time you pay back with interest. Now, there are two types of credits. There's secured credit or debt, and unsecured credit. Secured credit are things like a car loan and a mortgage. Okay, these are things that these are types of credit for which you have put up collateral to be able to obtain the item. You were not able to obtain the item outright with cash, so you had to put up something of value, which is your house or the car that you're purchasing, to secure the loan that you're obtaining. Hence why in the event of mortgage delinquency, you have foreclosures and the house is taken back because that was a secured credit. Unsecured credit, one of the major types is credit cards. That's one of the major types of unsecured credit, and you have other types of unsecured credit such as medical debt. Now, whether or not you need credit, that is a personal decision, regardless of what anyone, including financial experts, have to say about it. Now, whether or not you need it, that's something you have to decide, and that's going to be based on really what your financial goals are and how you intend on obtaining those. Okay, now, is it possible to live without credit? Absolutely. However, unless you have tons of cash laying around in savings or quick access to cash, which I sure don't, truth is a lot of people are not in a position to be able to live without credit. They're gonna need credit in one aspect of their life or another. Now, there are various aspects of life in which credit is considered, and some of those are, for example, if you're buying a house, some lenders actually do try to take a look at your credit. Now, credit, let me just say this, that credit is not really necessary when it comes to buying a house, but some lenders do consider it. And side note, if you are interested in a video on how to buy a house without having any credit, go ahead and drop a comment down in the comment section with the phrase mortgage without credit. That way I will know that you are interested in a video on how you can obtain a house without any credit. But again, when it comes to buying a house, some lenders do consider whether or not you have credit and what your credit stand is, if you're someone who's higher risk or low risk, and we'll talk about those in a future video. Also, you have buying a car. It's very typical that when you go to the dealership, the first thing that they're gonna do is run your credit to see where you stand financially, if you're someone that they can really loan money and they know that that loan is going to be paid back. Another aspect in which credit history or credit is considered is renting an apartment. Most landlords nowadays actually do run prospective tenants background checks and credit history because they want to make sure that that prospective tenant is a good tenant and that they're going to pay the landlord. At the end of the day, the landlord does want to be paid. So they do run credit checks to make sure that that prospective tenant is eligible financially to be able to pay the rent. Also, employment. If you're seeking employment, some employers do run credit checks for character of the employment candidate. I know I have seen in previous job searches, I have seen especially the federal government for certain jobs, they do tell you in the job description that you will be subject to not only a background check but a credit check as well, because they do want to make sure that you have a good character based on the job that you're going to be employed for. Now, are there benefits to using credits? Of course there are, and I'm sure you're aware that there are benefits to using credit. Some of the benefits include purchase protection. Now, when I say purchase protection, I actually mean like against fraud. So in case you've seen charges that comes up on your credit cards or your debit cards, that helps against fraud, and particularly when it comes to disputes. Now, I will say credit cards offer a greater advantage here, hence why we're talking about credit versus debit cards. Credit cards, when it comes to disputing charges, oftentimes give you a very large space of time to report those charges. We're talking about anywhere between 30, maybe up to even 90 days to be able to dispute a charge that you see on your credit card statement. Debit cards, on the other hand, though, because the money is coming from your bank account and that money actually comes out almost immediately, you have a very short window to be able to dispute a charge. And we're talking about between 2 or 3 days in which you have to make that report to your bank institution to report and dispute that charge before they can then take action to investigate the charge. So we're talking about with debit cards 2 to 3 days versus credit cards 30 to maybe up to 90 days for disputes. Now, another benefit of credit cards and credit is rewards and cashback bonuses, that when you use your card at certain places, you get certain promotions and you get certain rewards for use of your card. Now, are there, we talked about benefits of credit cards, so for sure there are definitely cons of using credit. One of the major cons of using credit is high interest rates. You all know, if you have a credit card, how much your interest rate can be on a credit card. We're talking about anywhere from maybe, I don't know, 12% all the way up to maybe even 30% APR on a credit card. So they do come with very, very high interest rates. So that's definitely one of the major fallbacks of credit cards. Also, it could negatively impact your credit. And that comes from poor credit management. If you're someone who doesn't manage your credit properly, definitely you are gonna have poor credit history or poor credit reputation because of your poor maintaining of credit. Okay, so those are things that you do have to consider. If you're trying to consider whether or not credit is for you, those are in fact things you have to consider. And again, it is a very personal decision. Again, I don't care what financial experts and gurus say out there, you have to assess your own financial situation. And I say that in all of my financial related videos. At the end of the day, it's a personal decision that comes down to assessing your financial position and situation and determining what's best for you. Credit is definitely, it's absolutely not necessary, but your ability to be able to live without credit definitely depends on your access and availability to liquid assets. And when I say liquid assets, I mean your ability to be able to convert assets into cash relatively quickly, whether it means having cash in savings or you have other money instruments like CDs or whatever that you can convert into quick access to cash. Then that's going to help you determine whether or not you're someone who can live with or without credit. If you are someone who is very financially responsible, then, and when I say financially responsible, I mean you are someone who pays bills on time, you always make saving a priority, then definitely credit might be something for you. Likewise, if you are not financially responsible, like if you always pay your bills late or not at all, you don't have much funds in saving, then credit could potentially be your downfall. Okay, so it might be something you might want to not take on if you're somebody who's not really financially responsible at all. So again, determining whether you should live with or without credit, it is a major financial decision and a personal one that should definitely not be taken lightly. Personally, I don't mind having credit and using it. Have I always been responsible with it? Honestly, no. And sometimes I do still have mishaps with it. But I will say I have become much, much more responsible with credit now than I ever was. And so I don't mind using it because I do enjoy the benefits that I get from using credit. So again, although credit has to be a personal decision, it can be an absolutely great tool for someone who's responsible enough to use it as such. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoy the content of this video. If you have any questions or comments, definitely leave them down below. I look forward to reading your comments and your questions. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe if you haven't already. And also, don't forget to hit that notification bell as well so you don't miss out on our next upload. Be sure to stay tuned for our upcoming video where we discuss the factors that actually make up your credit score. But while you wait, don't forget to check out these 2 videos here that are popping on the screen right here. You guys will see me in the next one. But until then, live happy, live rich, be blessed. Bye guys.